Aloha and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on This Is Now. We begin today with the major gridlock during the morning commute after a dump truck crashed into a concrete wall on the H-1 Freeway.
Yeah, it happened just after 8 in the eastbound lanes, just after the Ka'ahumanu overpass. Jonathan Masaki joins us live with more. Jonathan.
Well, as you probably saw earlier in our newscast, it just really snarled traffic for miles. In fact, it extended all the way, we're told, to Manager's Drive right about the Eva Plain area. So we're going to show you some video right now. This is that truck that actually hit the concrete barrier that separates the zipper lane from the main H-1 freeway heading in the eastbound direction. And people got out of their cars kind of observing as to what happened, but debris from that concrete wall was kind of scattered around all of the zipper lanes. So that actually at one point closed the zipper lane. And in addition to that, 2 left lanes of the freeway were also blocked. Now, we were telling you that the traffic was blocked up for miles and extended into the Eva Plain until we finally got some control, or the DOT was able to open the zipper lane to everybody back up after they got some of that debris off of the roadway. But some video sent in to us from our viewers to show you just how bad the gridlock was, extending way past many of the gridlocks that we see on a traditional day of traffic. So an update for you: about an hour ago, we're told that the zipper lane was finally reopened. As you look at our live camera here at the Ka'ahumanu overpass, flowing very, very nicely. And we're going to take it to a camera next right now to show you the actual camera that was right there at the Ka'anohe overpass. Again, smooth sailing right now as we speak. And one last camera to show you at the Ka'anohe overpass right there. You see that it's looking pretty nice as the flow continues to improve throughout the day. But the good news is traffic is back to normal. All lanes are open as we speak, and the zipper lane has been retracted back, and all lanes in the other direction are open. That's the latest from our traffic center. Back to you, both of you.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right, now looking to headlines across the state. On Hawaii Island, 5 students have been suspended after a fight yesterday morning at Hilo High School. A 51-year-old school administrator suffered a twisted ankle when she was knocked over by a police officer who was trying to break up the fight. Social media reports say the woman was in critical condition, but the DOE and police tell us that's not true and that she only went to the ER as a precaution. No students were hurt.
Also new, Derek Camacho has been sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading no contest to robbery, burglary, and unlawful imprisonment on Hawaii Island. The 21-year-old bound the owner of the Kahuku gift shop when he was confronted during a break-in last summer. Police eventually tased him. 1 year after Maui firefighter Trey Evans Dumoran died during a flood in Kihei, his mother is now suing his supervisor. The lawsuit claims Captain Scott Martin ordered Evans Dumoran to go near a storm drain, although there was no imminent danger to life or property. It says he didn't have protection, such as a flotation device, and should have been tied by a rope to the fire truck. Evans Dumoran was sucked through that storm drain and swept out to the ocean.
The decision that I have to make is as his mom. And as his mom, I fought my entire life to protect him. And I couldn't protect him in this case. But I have to try to protect anyone else who might be in this space. I've lost him already. I won't ever have a chance to hug him again. But that shouldn't be the case for anybody else. And so I have to try.
We've reached out to the county for comment and have yet to receive a response.
Hot-button immigration and border policy issues suffered failures in both chambers of Congress. The House Republican-led effort to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was voted down last night, and in the Senate, Republicans torpedoed the fate of a bipartisan bill on border security. Now, both issues will have another chance. Skylar Henry has more.
The bipartisan bill to strengthen the border and provide aid for Ukraine and Israel died in the Senate Wednesday.
Senate Republicans have looked more and more like their House counterparts and transformed themselves into the Chaos Caucus.
Senators on both sides of the aisle spent more than 4 months negotiating the details.
We knew from the beginning it's not going to be perfect, but we also knew the status quo is untenable.
Despite Republican leadership backing the compromise, many of the rank and file were dead set against it.
I think a Republican leader should actually lead this conference and should advance the priorities of Republicans.
The final straw came when former President Donald Trump slammed the efforts.
It turns out border security is not actually a risk to our national security. It's just a talking point for the election.
Even if the bill had passed in the Senate, Republicans in the lower chamber of Congress declared it dead on arrival in the House. Republicans are not passing the bill to address the border, but they're still planning to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over his handling of the immigration issue.
The yeas are 214 and the nays are 216. The resolution is not adopted.
Even though they failed to impeach him on the first vote Tuesday night.
Mayorkas needs to be held accountable. The Biden administration needs to be held accountable, and we will pass those articles of impeachment.
Republicans fell one vote short Tuesday night, but they expect to try again when Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise is healthy enough to return to work. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Yesterday on Spotlight Now, Hawaii's Governor Josh Green was here. He spoke on a number of topics, but he also talked about the recent chemical attack near Ala Moana. Here's some of that interview.
I don't think it was a hate crime at this point. Everything that I've heard suggests it was a horrible random act of violence. I have been in touch with her, this beautiful young woman, and the Chinese government and our White House, and doing what we can for her. Now, she's got a long recovery ahead, and it's tragic, this kind of injury. This did trigger a reaction in our team. As you know, we focus a lot on homelessness, and we have these large plans over time to build kauhale, get people off the streets, clear out these structures that are obviously now hosting people that in some cases have weapons or worse. In this case, it was a chemical acid. We have to get rid of that stuff. So I called all of our team together, working hand in hand with Mayor Blangiardi. We've kind of supercharged the teams to build the kauhale much faster. So it's going to be a big cleanup effort. Essentially, it will begin on or around March 1st, where we'll launch a lot of this. And we're hoping in 90-day increments to get tons and tons of people, especially first the kupuna and families off the street and veterans. But we also need to spend extra attention, extra healthcare attention on those guys who are really struggling with drugs. And I know they may not like it, but as far as I understand the statute, we are able to compel people to go and come out of those settings off the street, provided we have housing for them. We will be offering housing to people.
If you want to watch the full conversation, it is posted now on our website as well as our Facebook page. And another one of the issues that Governor Josh Green touched on was legalizing commercial marijuana. While Governor Josh Green supports the legalization of it, other community leaders like Mayor Rick Blangiardi and prosecuting attorney Steve Alm are against it. They are hosting a news conference to state their opposition today at 1 o'clock. Hawaii News Now will be streaming that live, and we'll also hear from some people who support the legalization of marijuana. Be sure to stick with us for the latest on that.
New insight on a proposal to ban foreigners from buying real estate in Hawaii. Its stated goal is to bring down overall housing cost. More than 2,000 people submitted testimony for the bill, and many attended an in-person hearing yesterday. But the Attorney General's office opposes the bill, saying it would illegally ban non-U.S. citizens from buying property in Hawaii.
The bill may unconstitutionally intrude on the federal government's exclusive control over foreign relations. And by prohibiting foreign domiciliaries from owning real property in Hawaii, the bills may also violate the Federal Fair Housing Act, which prohibits discrimination in housing on the basis of national origin.
The Constitution is made for us, for those who live in America. The foreign entities that have been purchasing up our land have been doing it under LLCs and trusts. That's how they keep their names hidden. And they have been taking away our land, not only in Hawaii, but all over the nation.
The Senate committee is set to vote on the bill on Friday.
We want to welcome now Sergeant Chris Kim of HPD's Crime Stoppers Honolulu. We're starting a new segment where we're going to be highlighting some crimes here in the community with the hopes that you can help solve them. Chris, welcome here to This Is Now. Let's go ahead and jump right into these crimes.
Okay, we're asking for the public's help, and we're going to talk about 3 cases. All 3 cases we talked about can be seen on the www.honolulupd.org website under Wanted Persons. The first case I want to highlight is actually a burglary that happened on Tuesday, January 16 at about 2:08 a.m. These 4 individuals broke into the L&L Barbecue over on Makola Street. They used a large rock, shattered the glass, made entry, then got got into the cash register and fled. All 4 suspects are being described as unknown. They fled in a white Kia, Hawaii license plates STZ 441. So we're asking for the public, if you do recognize or know anything about this case, please contact us.
And our next case here?
Yeah, the second case is actually a burglary in the second degree that happened on Thursday, January 18 at about 2:52 a.m. These 2 individuals were captured in video surveillance breaking into a storage shed over on Moanalua Road and then taking property. Suspect number 1 is being described as unknown male, medium build, short gray hair. He's wearing a long sleeve shirt, dark shorts, and black slippers. Suspect number 2 is also being described as unknown male, medium build, shaved head, wearing a black sweater, black pants, and black gloves. They fled in a white Ford F-150, Hawaii license plates TWX 450.
And we have one more to share here.
As far as his last case on Tuesday, January 16, at about 4:38 p.m., this male entered the Lowe's Waikele, filled up a cart full of items, and then fled. It's being classified as a theft in the second degree, which means that he stole over $750 worth of items. He's been described as an unknown male, medium build, yellow-green T-shirt, blue jeans. Anybody knows this guy, please contact us at Crime Stoppers.
Now, the work that Crime Stoppers does is so important to our community. What is the best way that people can first off submit their tips?
Well, they can call our hotline at 808-955-8300. We also have an app that we implemented back in 2016 called the P3 Tips app. People are able to submit their information anonymously through the smartphone, upload photos and or videos. Or they can go to our website at www.hollandcrimestoppers.org.
And can you also talk about anonymity is a big thing for Crime Stoppers. I've done stories where I've met the lovely team who answers the phone. And the first thing they say is, aloha, Crime Stoppers, please remain anonymous. Can you talk about that? Because I know some people may be hesitant.
Right.
They don't want to be a snitch, essentially. What can you say to that?
Exactly. So ultimately how we operate is what you said, based on the anonymity of it. We know that, especially living on an island, people tend to know people that we featured, but they don't want to be known as a rat or the snitch. But as far as Crime Stoppers, we take that information from the public, we then forward it to the proper investigative divisions while keeping the tipsters anonymous. We take in the info, we pass it on, and if your tip leads to an arrest, the tipster then gets a cash reward of up to $1,000. We've solved numerous cases through the use of the app and the hotline.
Well, the video that we've just seen too, it's so clear these days. I mean, those 2 guys in the second crime, you can see their faces, and they're still so brazen, these crooks. I'm sure video like this helps though, right?
Definitely. So when we highlight these cases, we actually want the public just kind of know that, hopefully, that you never are involved in as far as being a victim in a case. But if you do, you can kind of see how essential having a good video surveillance setup aids the investigators in helping to solve the case.
Yeah, right there. You can see the license plate crystal
they're
clear.
busted.
I mean, they're just waiting around,
Yeah, so if you know of anything or any tips, please go ahead and call Crime Stoppers. Once again, 955-8300 is their number, or check out the P3 Tips app. And we're hoping to bring Chris on weekly to provide updates like this. But also, really quickly, Chris, you did something fun yesterday.
Yes, on a lighter note.
On a lighter note, take a look at this, guys. What's going on? Chris, tell us about this. What's going on?
So what this was, the City County put on its 53rd annual Seniors Valentine's Day dance. It's where the kupuna can go out and basically just have a good time. And, they invite members from the police department, the fire department, other government agencies, as well as the media to come out and just kind of have a good time. And, it's funny because people oftentimes will say, like, hey, who's this angry Korean guy always on? He was always so serious. But as you can see, that I do have a lighter side to me.
Yes,
we love it.
Yeah.
Well,
so
thank
you get paired up with a date?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I got paired up with a date. But what's really touching is that yesterday I bumped into my date from the 2019 dance. And it was just so heartwarming, just kind of see her and just laughing and smiling.
Safe to say she wasn't mad. You was dancing with other people.
No, she gave me the pass for yesterday. But yeah, Bernadine will be my first.
Oh, so cute. Well, Chris Kim of Crime Stoppers Honolulu, thank you so much for all your work. Once again, you can learn more about Crime Stoppers on our website. We'll be posting this segment on our website and mobile app. Let's go ahead and send you live outside now. This is a live look at Las Vegas, Nevada. The countdown to the Super Bowl is on. The Sphere is going. Check that out. So much fun. Stay with us right after this break. We will have a quick look at your local forecast.
will get some breezy winds, leftovers from the real windy conditions we had the last couple of days. But the winds are going to be firm today and tomorrow. They'll start the process of slowing down. Going to be significantly slower on Friday going into the weekend. In fact, over the weekend, we'll likely get light and variable winds, which will likely linger into the middle part of next week. So there's going to be a little fluctuations in the weather, in that we've got breezy trade-ins today, slowing up tomorrow, and still we'll get trade-ins on Friday. That means there's a good chance for some overnight and early morning windward and multiple showers. Not a lot of rain still, right? And then we're going to get maybe some afternoon pop-up showers when the variable winds take over on Saturday, and those variable winds will run into the middle of next week. And when the variable winds take over, that means it's going to be a little bit more humid, and we'll likely see some cooler overnight temperatures. That's a nice little change. All in all, look at that. That's a nice long run of by far the best weather on the planet.
Well, we are one more day closer to the Super Bowl. Let's check in with Casey Lunn and Steve Uehara, who are having some fun up there in Vegas.
Aloha from the California Hotel. We're here all week heading into Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, this is where we've been starting our mornings. In the daytime, we go out and we gather all kinds of great content to bring back to Hawaii just for you ahead of Super Bowl Sunday. One of the things we did yesterday, talked to a living legend, four-time Super Bowl champ, Jesse Sapolu. He's here in Vegas, of course, former 49ers great. Ready for the big game, meeting up with some of his brothers. What a cool experience that must be for him and his family. We had just a little bit of time with him. Great guy. Sat down and asked him what this team needs to do to get it done on Sunday, and his memories of those 4 Super Bowl wins.
We have the talent, and all we need to do is put it together for this 1 week. It's going to be a tough game because I understand they have a lot of experience. They're coming off being defending champions. But the one thing that I do know is if you're going to become a champion, you got to go through everybody to get there. And I feel good about our chances.
We've talked before about the Super Bowl wins. You won 3 with Joe Montana, another one with Steve Young. You're the only one that did that. But can we go back to the first one? What was the experience like as you're getting ready for the big game? And I imagine there were some nerves, right?
Yeah, there was some nerves. You know, I wasn't far removed from the University of Hawaii, you know, and I lost my rookie year. I lost the NFC Championship game in Washington, a close game at the last second. Then I thought, man, I missed out because all my friends from Hawaii were calling me on the phone, wow, you might get a Super Bowl ring. Then the next year we went on that 18-1 team and beat Dan Marino in my first Super Bowl. I was so excited, you know, couldn't believe it, you know, starting from humble beginnings in Kalihi to wearing that ring. I wore it to the UH weight room. That's how excited I was.
Earlier this week, you may have heard, we talked to fellow Super Bowl champion Ma'a Tanuvaso, a fellow local boy, about his experience watching Sapolu growing up and what it meant to him to see Sapolu come out of the tunnel, flash in the shaka. So here's Jesse about the importance of representing Hawaii and doing it the right way.
When I got introduced in the Super Bowl, they introduced other people, said from the University of this and this and that. When they introduced me, it said from Hawaii. There was no university before that. And it showed me that I was representing more than just the University of Hawaii. I was representing the whole state. And that's something that made me proud to go out there and do the best that I can.
All right, what do we got on the docket today, Steve?
Okay, so we're talking to a local boy who is up here in the Cirque du Soleil program, one of the Cirques, and also a local business, or a business owned by a local family that had to move up here. Things were cheaper, and they really pivoted. They were in construction, they were doing something else. They came up here, they created a restaurant. It's called Generations. It's fantastic.
And the town is getting busier by the day. We're feeling that as sunrise is
on the road
in Vegas. We've got so much more for you. Stay tuned right here. And then, of course, the Super Bowl on KGMB Sunday. We'll be here for it. Aloha.
Also in Las Vegas, police detained multiple people outside of the Sphere Wednesday after a man was seen climbing the 366-foot structure. Take a look at this incredible video. Now, footage showed him standing at the very top of the massive LED-clad landmark. He was subsequently arrested.
With the U.S. dollar stronger than China's currency, the markets can be a shopper's paradise if you know how to bargain. Stephanie Lum has more.
Oh, look, beef jerky. Look, the cute little pigs. I think that's the sweet type. He's cutting it up. things in China that you can't find in the United States. The snacks, the souvenirs.
And the allure of a good deal at the street markets.
Someone bought a beautiful Chinese teacup at a hotel. That was $15 US. And then when you went to the side streets of these villages, it's like selling for $5.
Our money goes a little farther in China. The exchange rate during our trip was $1 to 7.2 yuan. At that rate, a Big Mac in China would cost less than $4, compared to the national average cost of $5.58 in the U.S., or in Manoa, $6.39.
You work here. So the rule of thumb is you go half the price of what it is. That was 200. Down by Lucia. I got it down. Down by Lucia. Okay, don't talk too loud because I'm trying to make it go lower. If they say no, you try again. You can either walk away. Down by Tamai. If they say come back, that means you know you got it at a good price. Down by. Okay. Congratulations.
You spent my money.
谢谢
Thank you. If you look back to our history, our economic history, we didn't have any inflation for the longest time because Walmart, everyone's buying things from China. That's why it's so cheap.
About 80% of Walmart's imported goods are made in China, as are 75% of items sold on Amazon.
Virtually all consumer products, including very complex, sophisticated machinery that's used in hospitals, that's used, all over our daily lives, a lot of that, at least in part, is probably being manufactured in China.
But lately, China's shipping ports haven't been as busy. In 2020, the U.S. imposed strict tariffs and trade barriers to reduce its dependence on Chinese goods and curb unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. That's part of the reason America's goods are costing more.
You're going to see inflation is going to be a little higher as we go along. We don't buy products from China.
For a long time, I think one of the sources of China's competitiveness was its low labor costs. There are other countries, particularly in Southeast Asia, which offer much more competitive labor.
Now it's made in Burma, it's made in Vietnam.
Back at the markets.
How much is it?
It's always a competition.
I had so much fun shopping.
To get the best deal. A simple buyer and seller, symbolizing the relationship between the world's two biggest economies.
80. How many you buying?
Just seeing what you could get for a good price.
I'm not doing this.
And let's end today with a live look out once again, the Sphere. Ash, are you excited for the Super Bowl?
I am. I'm excited to see the halftime show.
Halftime is definitely, yes. I still think Rihanna's from last year was great.
It was very
Were you a fan of that one?
I was. I also liked the one before with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
Oh yeah, that was wild. Personally, my favorite was Lady Gaga from several years ago. When she came down from the ceiling, I was living. Thank you all so much for tuning into This Is Now. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.
Aloha.